What's up, guys? Welcome back to Drawn and Willing. And before we dive into the lesson today, if you would please just like, share, comment, subscribe, do what you do. If you enjoy these videos at all, if they helped you out at all, it'd be super helpful for us to get your feedback. And it would really mean a lot just to get this conversation out to more people. But anyway, now that that's out of the way, to dive into what we're going to be talking about today, for a long time now, I'm sure you've heard, and I've definitely heard, is that the church is in decline. Christianity is declining. People are leaving the church, especially younger people my age, because I am still young, despite what some people say. And a lot of that is true. Unfortunately, that has been a trend over the past several years that young people have been leaving the church. But recently, myself and other people have been noticing a shift. I've been beginning to see more people my age, even teenagers younger than I am, people in their 20s, in their 30s, starting to ask questions about God again and becoming more curious. Some people are reading the Bible again. Some people are showing up to church again. This is a trend that's been going on for the past few years, and some people are just curious to figure out what this whole Christianity thing is about. So the question that I just want to look through today is, are young people actually coming back to Jesus? Is Gen Z, particularly that's like 13 to 28-year-olds, I believe, are they coming back to Jesus? Or is this just a moment? Is it revival or is it curiosity? And that's what I wanted to dive into today. So what I've personally seen in my own life, and I've had conversations with people that are about my age in their 20s, who aren't really church people, but they're actually seeking answers to big existential questions in their life. And I've seen more Bible clips and TikTokers and Instagrammers talk about Jesus online that are my age. And it's interesting. Even myself, just trying to have a voice in this Christian influencer thing online. But it used to feel like Christianity was something that people were just leaving and stopped talking about. Now it seems like there's a shift going on, or people at the very least are reconsidering Christianity. So is this real? Is this something that's actually going on? Is there data to support this? Or is it just emotional? Is it just a phase? Are people coming back to Jesus? Or is it just a spark that's going to go out? Are we approaching revival? Or is there just a couple of viral TikToks going on about this? So I'm going to link a couple of research articles that I looked into to research this. I'll try to remember to link those in the description if you want to read more about this. But there was a research thing done by Pew, and it's showing that Christianity's decline that has been going on for a while appears to be stopping in the United States. It shows that it might have leveled off, and this was a study done in 2024 to 2025. So for years, like I can remember just growing up, Christianity was just dropping fast. I'm sure if you went to church in the past 20 years or so, you have noticed that the numbers go down and down and down every year. But the data is basically saying is that it's not dropping like that anymore. That doesn't mean that it's growing again necessarily. It just means that the free fall has stopped. It's like we hit the brakes, but maybe we're not actually driving forward yet. And if we're being honest, we can't just say that revival is happening everywhere, which I've seen that online, and it's really encouraging to see these revivals happening across America, which is really, really cool. But the biggest studies right now literally say that there's no clear evidence of a huge revival going across the nationwide. And I actually think that's good to know, because Christianity likes to hype up stuff and jump on any positive bandwagon, which I understand there's a lot of negativity in the world. We see like 10 people in America get baptized on one Facebook post, and they think that revival is here, which is awesome that these people get baptized. That's not what I'm saying, but sometimes we like to blow things out of proportion, right? But I'm also going to link this one below. It's a study done by Barna. It says that 66% of U.S. adults have made a personal commitment to Jesus, and says that Jesus is still important in their life, which this was done in 2022, I believe. This is a 12-point increase since 2021. That's a big jump. And that's when it gets interesting. There's that study saying that people are actually getting committed to Jesus more than just a few years ago. That increase is actually coming from people my age, younger adults, Gen Z even. And this is important because this is more than just church attendance, right? There's people that come to church today that don't really wouldn't say they have like a committed relationship to Jesus if they're honest with themselves. But this is seeming to be rising in younger adults. And it also, in that study done by Barna, says that Gen Z and millennials are attending church more consistently, which is awesome. And Bible reading has increased after dropping in 2024. So I have seen this firsthand, that young people are becoming more interested in Christianity, which is awesome to see. So young people aren't just ignoring their faith completely, which is awesome. They're actually engaging and challenging it in some ways. It's not to say that everybody's just rushing back to church, right? But people are at least like, I should check this out again. I should think about this more. And that's encouraging. So when you put all that together, all that to say, Christianity in the United States isn't booming exactly, but it's not crashing, which is awesome. And young people are becoming more interested in Christianity. And the best way to describe this moment is not revival, but something I believe is shifting. Like there's something in the air and something is happening right now. And that's what culture shifts look like a lot of the times. It can be messy. Not everybody's moving in one direction. Great band, by the way. Sorry, that was a bad joke. Anyway, what I think is happening, like the middle way, is disappearing. Okay, people aren't just casual Christians anymore, and they're also not on the other side either, right? They're either walking away or actually searching, right? There's not this kind of middle ground where it's just kind of like you don't really care, and that's pretty cool to think about. So I think there's a few reasons why this is happening. Okay, why people are coming back or at least interested in Christianity. And one, I think, particularly that is applied to me and my faith, and I know a lot of people my age, is that the world isn't working, okay? Living a secular, worldly lifestyle without any connection to Christianity or religion doesn't work. We're told to just follow your dreams, be yourself, and do what makes you happy. And a lot of people are doing that, and they feel empty. Right? I mean, it's not a novelty thing that I'm thinking about here. This is something that has happened for thousands of years, right? People get money, they get successful, they have everything that they want. They're famous, they're on top of the world, and they still feel empty, right? And a lot of young people are feeling that way. They feel empty. They are successful in their life. They've got a car, they've got a nice house, and still don't have peace. They have relationships with friends, but they aren't stable in their life. They have entertainment, but they don't have meaning, right? And a lot of things in my life, like you're just distracted, right? In my life, we're always just distracted, and young people in particularly, I feel like, get distracted really easy and try to fill their time up with anything that they possibly can. But eventually, when you're laying in your bed alone at night, or just whenever you're just sitting in silence and you start thinking about these things and you're alone with your thoughts, you start thinking about these big questions. And so why do so many people feel empty when life looks so good or is supposed to look good on the outside? And I think the world is just not working or satisfying. And that's what people are looking into Christianity for. And to go along with that, a lot of people my age, including myself, have struggled with like mental health issues and anxiety, and they are anxious and they're depressed and they don't know what to do and what direction to go in. And anxiety isn't just about stress, it's about control, right? We're trying to carry things that we were never meant to carry by ourselves. And a lot of people are realizing, I believe, that they're not strong enough to be the foundation of their life. They can't do this alone. And that's actually a good place to be. It was a good place for me to be there because it opens me up to God. It opens me up to the message of Jesus, right? You read the Gospels and Jesus is there. And one of the big things he talks about is finding rest in him, right? To find peace In the midst of life's storms, Jesus is there, and he cares about when you're anxious, your anxiety, your depression, your mental health. Jesus cares about that, and he wants to be there. And that's one thing I think people find in Christianity that they can't find anywhere else. And then a lot of people are looking for something that's authentic, right? They're tired of things that are fake. And in particular, people that have left that are inquiring about Christianity again, right? They grow up going to church, and all it is rules without an actual relationship and knowing who Jesus really is. It's just these lists of rules of don't do this, you have to go here at a certain time, you can't go here. It's all these things. And it's church without depth, right? It's morality without meaning, and people get burnt out. But some people are looking at Christianity, maybe taking a second look at it and seeing that that's not what Christianity is all about. So when they left Christianity originally, they weren't just rejecting Jesus, they were rejecting like a weak version of Jesus, that culture, and that we've been guilty of in the church of presenting to people. And this is huge. This is big. And now people see something deeper. They see Christianity as something that's deeper than that. Like they get to experience what real prayer and worship is like, and real theology even. They want to be challenged. They want something that stands out. And then also, a huge one. I mean, us right now, this is only possible because of the internet, right? People have access to the internet, and it's amazing. People now have access to sermons, to debates, apologetics, church history like never before in human history. And people, when they get curious, can find the answers, right? They don't have to go to just one preacher or pastor or elder, whatever, to look for answers. They can find that for themselves, right? And they can research it itself, which is great, but just don't end up on weird TikTok, okay? The weird side of Christian TikTok, because that is a thing, and you need to stay away from that. But the internet effect is crazy. It's blown up. There's so many Christian influencers, or whatever you want to call them, teachers, that are genuine and that do study, and they want to help people grow closer to God and want to answer these big questions, right? And it's awesome. So those are just a few things that I think that people are searching for and they want to figure out. And so what do we do with this? I think there's like a big difference, I think, between people just liking Christian aesthetics but actually wanting to follow Jesus. They think that maybe the worship music is really pretty and this and that, but they don't really want to surrender to Jesus, right? So do I want Jesus, or do we just want what comes with him, right? That's the question for these inquirers. But this moment can be dangerous, right? Because curiosity can lead to truth, but it can also stop short. So what do we do when we experience these people in our lives, right? What do I do when I have a guy that I know that isn't a Christian, but he's asking me these questions? And these are some ways I think that that can help us when we're thinking about how do we interact with these people that have this renewed curiosity about this. The first one, pretty simple. You need to be ready, right? If you are a Christian right now, you need to be studying like every day. You need to be in the Word every day. You need to be praying every day and growing closer to God, right? That's what a relationship with him is all about. And when people are asking these questions, we don't need to waste that moment, right? We don't know if that's the only time they're going to be actually open to answering these questions. That doesn't mean that you have to be perfect, right? It doesn't mean that you have to have a PhD in apologetics or theology to answer these questions. But just when you have a conversation with your friends, just be open about your faith. Don't be weird, but just be real. And just be ready to have those conversations. And I think study is a big part of that, but also just being open and being honest and just knowing what to say and not to say, and just be ready. I think that's a big thing. And also, I think a huge thing, at least for me, and especially Gen Z, teenagers and young adults right now, is that they want depth over just surface level stuff. The church doesn't need to be an entertainment industry, right? We don't need to have like the newest, best coffee shop in the foyer or a smoke machine with cool lights. It needs to be deeper. It needs to be deeper than that. We need substance in our Christianity. We don't need to be cool. We just need to be deeper, okay? And people are looking for that. People my age are looking to be challenged. Teenagers are looking to be challenged with their faith. Don't be surface level. And then also, a few more things. We need to have Jesus at the center. It's so easy in church to just talk about your politics or the culture or opinions. But if it's centered on Jesus, everything that I just listed will center itself in the correct way around Jesus, right? If someone leaves your church knowing what political party you are and doesn't know anything about Jesus, something's wrong, right? Jesus needs to be at the center. And then also, we need to have real community. Community is something that people lack, and I think that's what drives a lot of people to churches, that they're looking for real people that are always going to be there for them. And the church is a great place to do that when the church is doing what it should be. They need somebody to call, somebody to sit with, somebody to be honest with, someone that will help you even if it's inconvenient for me, right? Like, that's the kind of people that people are looking for, a kind of community like that. And the programs and the worship and a cool sermon don't always change people, but people change people, right? When you're actually there and present for somebody, that's when people can start to change. And then lastly, just be patient. Be patient with people. People are going to have questions, right? They're going to challenge things. They're going to struggle with things even. And they're not going to understand everything right away. But when we read Jesus, he didn't rush people, right? The disciples, they questioned and struggled. But Jesus took his time and he walked with them and helped them. So there's a tension, right? When we're thinking about this topic. Are young people or in America, are they coming back to Jesus? Not in the most massive, obvious ways, but in a real way, I think the answer is yes. And oftentimes that's how God works, right? Not in huge, obvious waves, but in quiet moments when people start asking real questions. That one friend that you have in your life that's asking questions about your faith. That's how God works. It's really cool when God leads a nationwide revival, right? That would be awesome. But I think it's just as awesome when God has put one person in your life that you can have a positive impact on with the faith that you have. So this generation isn't rejecting Jesus as much as it used to, right? They might just be rejecting what they thought Christianity was. And it's an awesome opportunity for us to think about what we can do to help this generation continue that track on having a relationship with Jesus. So thank you for watching. Before you go, if this episode helped you think, that challenged you, helped you maybe think about some of these things, how we can reach more people, I would really appreciate it if you liked, you shared it with somebody that might need it, subscribe and follow, whatever you needed to do. And if you've ever been one that's been questioning something or even come back to faith, you're not alone in that. I'm here for you. My friend Drew, that's usually here, is here with me. We're here for you. The church is there for you. So always, if you need anything, just reach out to us. And we appreciate you listening to this podcast, and we'll see you next time.